You hold the baby in your arms.
Okay.
And you walk back and forth for an hour. And then you set her down in her co-sleeper. You set her down in her little nighty-night time. And then you quietly tiptoe away and hope she sleeps.
And that's how you become a successful parent?
That's well, I don't know about successful. That's just how you try to be, to do the best you can.
You have now entered the Henry Lovers Podcast. Sit back and enjoy the soothing voices of your hosts, Mike, Brandon, and Chico, as they ramble on about absolutely nothing for the next hour.
Happy podcast, everybody. Episode, 7? 7 now?
7.
Episode 7.
We're here.
Right.
This is the intro.
Yeah.
So we're getting a little less awkward now, which is sad because the intros are a lot less funny for some reason. So, you don't agree?
I don't know. I don't listen.
So for next episode, I'm going to have to go find my old iPhone. There's an app down there called Satchel Bone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got some interesting sound effects for when people either make mistakes or when people do punny stuff. You know, the
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, dude, I've wanted to integrate some type of like what are they called? Like a little soundboard or something like that into this. And I've wanted to make it just really weird and goofy because that's kind of like what we were going for to begin with. And it's just I don't know how to do it. Like it's one thing if we're all in the same room because then you can actually hook up all this shit that does all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the fact that we're literally all in very vastly separate areas, it makes it a little hard to try that. But that would be pretty cool if we could pull that off somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, Chico. You could totally be the soundboard guy. You just fucking nail us with random ass sounds every once in a while.
Yeah, it's something similar to what we've been experiencing, like in our paintball tournaments, but not with sound, but with penalties instead.
Penalties?
Yeah. Remember, like minors and major penalties?
No.
You don't remember those?
0.
From speedball tournaments?
I played that one tournament where my gun was shooting way too fast, so I didn't really play because I didn't want to kill somebody.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. 350?
Well, you know, they had to pick me, and I shot like 8 shots because I knew it was way too high.
Yeah.
And sorry if you hear tape. I'm taping my microphone down because I had to move it.
Oh, you're good, man.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of annoying feedback and all sorts of great noises, but had to be done.
Actually, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
The feedback is very, very non-existent.
I heard
Cool.
the tape sound once or twice, though, but nothing else.
I need a cold beverage, so fill
likewise.
this
Depends.
next 20 seconds.
What do you got in the fridge, Mike?
I think he ran away too fast.
Yep, he ran fast.
Well, I know that he was talking about making mead. So that's one thing that I got to talk to him about because he was like, "Man, you've inspired me. I have to make mead now." And I'm actually pretty stoked. We're about to rack it, which basically means that we're gonna like flip it to a different container so it can continue to ferment.
Mm-hmm.
And that just helps with like clarity and stuff.
How long have you been fermenting it?
So as of right now, let's see. The 11th. We started it last month on the 11th. Or no, was it this month on the 11th? It was this month on the 11th. Okay. So it's been it'll be 3 weeks, July 2nd.
Okay. I thought you were supposed to rack it after like a month.
Well, and I said a month before, but the fermentation has slowed so much that it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like there's no, it's kind of like
no more like carbonation. Basically, all the yeast is dead, and you're
right.
just
Well, what
waiting.
it is when the yeast eats, more or less, it secretes like CO2, right? Like that's the byproduct of the yeast eating the sugars. Now the yeast are the ones that eat the sugars that convert it into alcohol. So whenever they die, they kind of float down to the bottom and then it produces CO2. Mm-hmm. So the rapid bubbling that you get is them like vigorously more or less reproducing and, eating the sugars. So when that starts to slow, you kind of want to rack it within, like, when it starts to slow to the point where, like, you don't see very many bubbles within, like, a 15-minute period, you probably want to rack it within, like, 3 to 4 days after that. Okay. Just because if you leave it, you'll get, like, a really bitter taste from all of the dead yeast cells that are floating at the bottom. Yeah. And I mean, I've heard of people that literally keep it in the same container for 2 or 3 years. Personally, that would just make it way too bitter for me.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny you kind of mentioned that. Because today, by happenstance, I went to my parents' house and they busted out a bottle of homemade dandelion wine that had been sitting in the same bottle for 2 years.
Nice.
And how'd that taste?
Yeah, not too bad, actually. Kind of a citrusy note. I don't know what they put in it, but it was good. It was alcoholic.
Yeah.
I didn't have to have too much of it. I was like, yep, there's booze.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That is interesting. I didn't think your parents drank at all.
They didn't used to.
Really?
No, not really. They just, I don't know.
Just randomly.
All the kids were like 21. They're like, okay.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, especially with your family, like, not having it in the house would be, in their eyes, probably like a, what the hell's the word? Like, it would entice you, more or less. You know what I mean? Having it in the house would entice you to drink it. And then once all the kids are 21, well, then it's like, well, it's legal for them to drink now, so who the hell cares?
Yeah, I don't know if it was really like that, but it worked out that way. So, sure.
Interesting. But,
so did you put fruit in your mead? I can't remember.
Yeah. So, what we ended up doing is, technically a mead with fruit in it is called a mellow.
Okay, that's right. I read that. Yep.
Yeah. So, and you can add spices, you can add fruit, you can really do whatever you want with it, which is why I liked it, because like wine itself is literally just grapes and sugar and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not a whole lot of room for creativity. Otherwise, you're going to upset a bunch of people. Yep. So what we did was we added pear, vanilla bean, and nutmeg.
Vanilla bean. That's right.
Mm-hmm. So vanilla bean, we did like a whole vanilla bean. We cut it in half, took the seeds out, and then we actually cooked the vanilla bean in with it. We didn't ferment it with the vanilla bean.
How'd you cook it then?
Well, what we did was we took the pears and we peeled them.
Oh, so you put all this into you to put all the ingredients together and cooked them all together.
Well, okay. So what we did was we took the pears and we the nutmeg and we added a little bit of sugar, just regular sugar, to help sweeten the pears because they weren't technically ripe yet. Because I'm a dumbass and made the yeast starter because I thought it had to sit for 24 hours, so I was like, oh, it'll be good, whatever. And then I went and realized that it was just a couple hours or what. Anyway,
yeah,
I fucked up. Is the moral of that story. So, but what we did was we took the pears, we peeled them, cut them up into chunks, kind of like you're making like potatoes. Uh-huh. You throw them in a pot with some of the spring water, some sugar, the nutmeg, the vanilla, and then you essentially just let it simmer for a really, really, really long time. Like probably, 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes.
You're just extracting the different flavors. Basically.
Right, exactly. It helps intensify all the flavors. And then what we did, which you don't necessarily have to do, but we mashed it and basically made it like a applesauce consistency. And then what we did was we put the spring water in. We put the mixture of the pear, the pear sauce essentially into it, but we took the vanilla bean out and threw that away because I wasn't sure. I didn't want the vanilla bean to add too much of an intense flavor to it.
Yeah, I got that's probably a good move, actually.
Yeah, well, because vanilla beans themselves are very potent, and I can't imagine leaving it in there for 3 months. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would just make it insanely bitter and just not good.
Maybe
but anyway,
delicious. Who knows?
And that is true. Well, and the fun thing is that we don't really know, and that's why we wanted to kind of do this one batch, see how it turned out, because I've already come up with a million ideas of other things that we could do.
Well, it's cool you went in that direction, because we kind of talked about this earlier on text about the flavors that I was going to use, because I sent you the prison recipe as you referred to it. Mike's prison mead.
Yep.
With the raisins and the cinnamon sticks, and I got some orange peel, from my parents. That's why I went over there. I got them whole cinnamon sticks and orange peel, and I was gonna make like a blueberry. So I thought, oh, that'd be great. But
that does sound real good.
We'll have some different flavors, so that'd be good.
Well, so what you should do though, in my opinion, is don't mix the orange and the blueberry. Like they make.
No, I was gonna make like probably just a blueberry on its own.
Oh, okay.
Orange on its own, maybe an orange with cinnamon. That might go
definitely
well, and then a cinnamon stick with the raisin.
Yeah, okay. So I'm totally like those three like separately, and definitely the orange with the cinnamon. That would be fantastic. But yeah. So essentially, what you're going to want to do is the yeast that I sent you, the 11, what was it, like K1 whatever. That yeast, you can get all of this stuff on Amazon. If you don't have an Amazon Prime account or whatever.
That local place that does a lot of brewing.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, something Homestead down by the other end of the town.
No shit.
Yeah.
Man, you're already cooler than us because I have to drive to Greenville, which is basically Binghamton, in order to get to a homebrew store.
This place has been open for a while. I mean, it's not just for that. They sell like Amish furniture and stuff like that, but yeah. I think I'm still going to do it the ghetto way with a balloon and letting the CO2 out that way, but it'll work.
It's not a bad plan. Basically, what you want to do is I have airlocks or whatever that I use just because, and you can get them cheap online too. And actually, they might have them at this Amish place.
They probably
if you
do.
Look, but they're cheap, man. Like you can get one for probably just like $2. But if you're gonna do them the way that you're wanting to do them. I would try to find a 2-gallon container because we use 2 gallons of water, but the amount of honey and everything else that you put into it, it added an extra half gallon to it.
Yeah. What I've got right now is I've got a couple Poland Spring bottles, the giant jugs. I'm either going to use that, but what I was actually thinking, I went and bought some bottles of Voss water because they're glass, and that way I'm not going to leach plastic into it. So I was thinking about just using them. I got 3 of those.
How big are they?
A liter, I think.
A liter? Okay. Well, what you could do...
So they're going to be like a small batch. I'd probably make 3 small batches and maybe 1 just regular, probably with the whatever flavor.
Okay. Well, what you're probably going to want to do is you're going to want to do some math just to figure out, like, because you can make, like, a giant batch of the meat itself and then just incorporate the fruits into each individual batch.
That's not a bad idea.
Because, I mean, that's essentially all it is. You make mead and then you add the fruit to it. But yeah, I mean, if you can get like 3 or 4 containers even, and then just get like a regular, so you'd have like the blueberry, orange cinnamon raisin, and then just regular mead. Because I think, what is it, 4 liters is a gallon, isn't it?
I
2 liters.
don't
2 liters
know
is a gallon.
Any of that crap. I looked up something earlier. I was like, oh, how many gallons in an ounce or something? And then they're like, oh, there's this many fluid ounces in a gallon.
How many gallons in an ounce?
How many fluid ounces? How many ounces are in a gallon?
Yes.
And then they gave me fluid ounces, but fluid ounces are not ounces.
No.
There's something else.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
it's so much math.
It's like 128 ounces per gallon.
It's horrible. It's
Okay,
all horrible. Yeah. But then you got to know how many pounds of your honey to use.
Here, hold up. I got you, man.
So much
I got
math.
you.
So
I got
much.
you right here. I got you right here. Okay.
It's not that much math, Mike.
Well, it's
No,
conversions.
I just gotta find. I don't know what the fuck. What did I do with it? I had. That's the soap recipe. I had it right here. I guess I must have moved it or something. But anyway,
you can shoot it to me later whenever if you figure it out.
Yeah, but what it is, it's 4 liters to a gallon. I mean, it's a little bit more than 4 liters. But what you can do is you take, maybe even like, well, no, the 4 would be okay. So what you're gonna want to do is you mix, just your regular batch of yeast. So with 1 gallon. With the 2 gallons, I think we did 6 pounds of honey. So I would probably do like 3 pounds of honey for a gallon. Well, and it's mead it's essentially that's where you're getting your sugar content. You know what I mean?
That's just so much honey, dude.
Oh, it is.
I didn't realize how much
amount.
it was. I got a 5-pound thing of honey, and knowing I got to use half of that. In a gallon jug, I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna get diabetes just looking at this thing.
Well, and what you have to think of though is the more sugar you add, the higher alcohol content, and ultimately like the kind of sweeter it will be. Personally, I'm kind of in the middle. Like I like dry, and I mean, well, I don't think we used exactly 6. I think we calculated 6 and then ended up using 5 for 2 gallons. So you could probably get away with 2 or 2.5.
That's why I figure no matter what I do, as long as if I put yeast in there, I put water, and I put honey, I'm gonna end up with something alcoholic.
Yeah,
I'm not really too worried about it.
With the yeast starter though, you know what? Actually, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll try to find that piece of paper that I had that like wrote down everything, and I'll try to do the conversions for you. Because as long as you have the yeast nutrient, the honey, and the water, that's literally all you need.
Do I need yeast nutrient though?
You don't need yeast nutrient, but the problem is that once the yeast starts to turn the alcohol, like turn the sugars into alcohol,
it's going to start to kill itself, right?
Exactly.
That's why I asked you if you had the champagne yeast, because the champagne yeast is more resistant to alcohol than regular yeast.
You could do that. It's but as far as its alcohol content, you know what I mean. Like as far like wine usually has about
14.
Well, yeah, it usually has a little bit more, if I'm not mistaken, like alcohol content than champagne does. I mean, it's essentially the same thing, kind of, but I don't know. Basically the guy that I bought my yeast from that's what he told me. He's like, champagne yeast is good, but what you're gonna want to do is use this yeast and then just add nutrient to it, because that way, like, not only it's essentially vitamins. You know what? It kind of supercharges the yeast.
Yeah. I'll see what they got tomorrow. If they got it, great. If not, whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, you can really, if it's just a small batch like that, dude, you probably don't have but like what, $20 invested in that at that point.
Not a whole lot, no.
Yeah, so I mean, it would be good to play with. It's still alcoholic, so push comes to shove, just make it shots. You know what I mean?
That sounds good to me. I think we're this isn't the beer and wine and mead podcast, though.
No. This is the Henry Lovers podcast.
We need to go. I had a thing happen that never happened to me before.
What kind of thing?
Oh.
Did you do anal?
It was oh! So anyway, I got a letter in the mail from my bank. And it was odd because I get my bank statements and all this other normal stuff. This was abnormal. I open it up, and I see 2 paychecks in there.
Nice.
And 2 fees for a bounced check, basically.
Not nice.
Oh, great. My employer, that is one of the biggest corporations, apparently doesn't have any money. And for people out there that don't know, my employer would be GE.
So hold up.
That's strange.
Yeah.
They haven't been paying you?
No. I was like freaking out because then they took the money out of my account and I didn't have money to pay my bills. So I overdrew on a couple things. So I had this whole big headache happen because they took 2 paychecks out of my account that I thought was going to be in there. So I go to the bank on Saturday morning. I wake up early, go there. They're like, no, you need to go talk to your employer. So then I have to wait, all day Sunday, all day Saturday, rest all day Saturday, all day Sunday because work's not open. So I go on Monday morning. Mm-hmm. I go down and I talk to the guy there, and he's like, no, we don't do that here. You got to talk to corporate. So I go back and I call corporate up. I'm like, look, they sent me this. Help me. I don't not know. Yeah. So then they're like, well, it looks like your bank tried to take it out twice, so it's their fault. So I had to go back to the bank. Yep, the bank messed up. They assured me it wasn't their fault on Saturday, but then GE said that. So then I went back to the bank. It's just basically I need to get direct deposit like an adult, but that's something extra I have to do.
Extra.
So. Yeah, you literally just have to bring in your routing and account number and give it to HR.
Yeah, but that's the extra thing I have to do. I have to do that. I have to get that number.
Mike, so in the event that you decide to do this one day, do you know what the upside to having direct deposit is?
I get my money early. I get my money on time. I get my money. I don't have to go to the bank. I don't have to worry about getting my check taken care of. I don't have to worry about getting my checks back in the mail. All these positive things.
I take it Emily already bitched you out about all this?
No, I hear about it at work like every day. Okay. I constantly have 3 paychecks in my wallet I need to go to the bank and take care of, but I never do. So,
Mike,
it's a reoccurring thing that I guess they're getting sick of hearing about. But it's what makes me me.
I feel like that was completely avoidable. I don't know.
Yeah, entirely. I love you, dude, but damn.
Well,
At first, I'm thinking like, oh shit, he's got direct deposit, and the bank, like his work is just not like depositing the checks. Like that's so fucked up. Like that's a lawsuit, dude. You could sue GE, and then you're like, nah, I deposit it manually, and then they're like, nah, that's my check, and then they're like, nah, just kidding.
No. The bank. Let's not lose sight here of the bank being the culprit here. The bank. I am the victim of the bank's negligence.
Yeah, so that means they should waive the overdraft fees if there are some.
They did. Okay. They did. They waived the fees. They waived them. They kissed my ass. I went there, sat down with a guy, and then they called corporate, and they were like, oh, put him on the phone. Put him on the phone. And I'm talking to the lady, and she's, oh, is there anything I can do for you? I can, where do you want the money? How blah, 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 blah. It's like, yep. I'll take care of it. You guys done enough.
Honestly, I would have been like, how about lowering my mortgage rate? Can you do that?
Well, if I guess it would have been worth a try.
Listen, so a similar kind of funny story about the bank and stuff. Now, Joey, Brittany's ex, her baby daddy, more or less, never took her off of the bank account, his bank account, more specifically, right? So they were talking, and Kimmy, who is his other baby mama, and also the one that hooked Brittany and I up, was basically like, oh, I need money for XYZ, and so she texted Joey that, and he told Brittany to go withdraw some money, right, for
That's
Kimmy.
Weird.
Yeah, so, well, here's the thing. So Brittany went ahead and just withdrawed like $500, and was like, okay, here's the money you need, and then just kept the rest. And so I was laughing about it.
How
right?
much did she keep?
Well, I think Kimmy needed like $3, so she ended up keeping like $200 or something like that. And so she called me after she, did it, and she was laughing and like so pissed at the same time because this dude has like thousands of dollars in the bank. Nice. And I'm not trying to like smear the guy, but he's not exactly on time with his child support payments, if you catch my drift. So she's like livid but laughing at the same time because she just did that. And like I literally spent the next 2 days trying to convince her to just go back and clear out his bank accounts because there's nothing that they can do about it. Her name is on the account. You know what I mean? She could legally go up there, clear his accounts, close them, and then just walk away. And nobody would do shit about it because her name was on it.
I feel like you still can't do that, though.
No, it's totally legal.
But can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious. That it happens all the time, especially if okay, say for instance like you and Emily were to, God forbid, get a divorce and all that stuff, right? She gets pissed off and her name is on your guys' bank account. She can literally beat you to the bank account.
But
clear
she isn't, though. Well, hear me out, though. 50-50 splits how this is supposed to... I know it doesn't work out that way, but that's what it's designed for, right?
No.
Yeah.
In an idyllic world, you're supposed to get
50-50.
half of the assets. Now, if one half claims a certain amount of assets, I feel like the other half is allowed to either sue for that money or get other compensation. It doesn't seem legal. Maybe if you're only because Brittany wasn't married to him, right? Just
no.
Dating. So maybe that would be a little bit easier to get around.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess if you're married, it does cause like a whole nother different like legal suit or whatever, but I don't know. Basically, I just thought it was funny, and I was trying to kind of feed the demon on her shoulder
I mean, she
and tell her
definitely
to...
should.
See,
and
I
now
thought
it's
so,
all
too.
on recording, so she probably shouldn't.
Well, she's not. She can't anymore. He finally took her name off because he was like, "What the fuck? I told you to take this much out, and you took that much out." But yeah. But
the moment's gone.
Listen, I mean, he should just be lucky that she's not as fucked up in the head as I am, because that's exactly what I would have done. I probably would have left him like maybe $1 and a quarter, $1.50, so he could buy himself a soda in that one account. But I totally would have cleared his savings. I would have even closed the savings. Yeah. Oh God, no.
To Europe.
Nah, see, I was telling Brittany, I was like, what we need to do is we literally just stick that in an account, and then anytime Lainey needs anything, whether it's like money for school, money for clothes, money for anything, we'll just withdraw it out of the account. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to pay for any of that stuff. It's all compliments of Joey. So, but, you know, it is what it is.
I got an idea.
What's that?
It's a great idea, Brent. You might hate it. Based off of previous things with freight trains and such.
What?
But I was thinking of a good way to make money.
Oh, is this one of the get rich quick schemes?
Yeah. You, Brandon.
Yes.
We're gonna make you clothing out of bacon.
Clothing out of bacon?
Yep. We're gonna get a bunch of crispy bacon. Crispy bacon. We're gonna fry it up and we're gonna stitch it together. And you're gonna wear it. You'll have like a tunic. And it'll be greasy, and you'll be all glistening. And since the larger women, the freight trains,
are
so into you, we'll make you irresistible with bacon.
Well, when you say into him, what are you referring to there?
Well, they're into eating him. They're into all those things. Refer back to episode 5, I think. And we'll set up a big tent outside of like a Jenny Craig Center or whatever. I'm sure they have things like that. And we'll set this tent up, and Chico will be up out there in one of those top hats like they had the old timey state fair. Like, step right up, come and get your bacon. Yeah, Brandon Bacon. And then I'll be out there playing, they had the monkeys with the little crank tune thingy. I'll be out there cranking it, doing a little dance, wearing like a little outfit, And Chico will be there with his straw hat on and his cane, slapping at a sign and taking money from the patrons.
No.
And the people, they'll be coming from miles around to think they're going to go lose the weight. But really, they're going to see this, and who can pass it up? People can't pass up bacon as it is. But Brandon, covered in bacon, and we'll round them all in. And there'll be a stage with a single curtain draped down what appears to be a box. And we'll go in. Once we get them all in, we take all the money. We'll charge them, $50 a piece? And then
$50 a piece to eat bacon off of me?
No. No. That'll be more.
Confused. Oh, okay.
So we'll let them all in, and then, I'll pull back the curtain, and Chico will be just really amping the people up, saying whatever Chico would say in that situation.
Yeah, they call that a hype man.
Yeah, Chico's the hype man, and I'll pull on the string, and then poof, the curtain will fall down, and Brandon will be there in a glass box with the bacon there. And what we'll do is some of the bacon will be raw, and we'll get hot lamps that will just be poof, and then we'll hit the switch, and poof, it'll be like a nice show. It'll be just a big glistening red sun all over the bacon. It'll just be sizzling, and Brandon will be there like Zoolander, freaking posing. And all of the women, all the freight trains will be going crazy.
Yeah, but he's going to have to get him like a little bit of a dance too, You got to put on the show.
So, and then what we'll do is we'll start raffling off to the highest bidder. Well, maybe not the highest bidder. Maybe the top 5 bidders. We'll allow them to eat a single piece of bacon.
From my trench coat thing.
Yeah, like we'll raffle off like his right arm. And Chico will be like, "Oh, step right up, man. Who's got $5,000?" And in the old timey voice, that's my old timey peddler voice. And I'll be sitting there like just really amping them up, And then the people, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 10,000. And then you'll have these like just 4 or 5 women that are just eccentric millionaires, housewives. And they'll have to get their bacon fix. Where else can they get this? Nowhere. And then there you go.
See, as far as a get rich quick scheme, Jesus, apparently none of us can talk. So, anyway, it seems solid, but at the same time, there's a lot of investment there. Bacon's not cheap, and you got to make a whole fucking tunic out of bacon.
Bacon's pretty cheap if you get it out of the dumpster at Wendy's.
Wow.
Gross.
It's okay. Just because it's spoiled doesn't mean it's spoiled.
Okay, so what you're essentially saying is that we make all of this money, and then we have to pay it right back for giving 5 people food poisoning.
No. This is like any good old-timey fair. You're there one day, and you're gone the next, and no one knows where you went.
Okay, so this is a con, then.
No, it's not a con. They're getting bacon. They're getting to eat bacon off the ginger. The ginger bacon.
Ginger bacon. Okay.
No, you're not. No, this is a great idea.
It's a beautiful idea, Mike.
It's an interesting idea.
It is.
So Mike, what do you think about Michael Phelps?
I think my boss was his roommate in college.
That
all right.
Pretty cool.
My boss was his roommate in college. That's awesome. One thing I think.
Well, today he is the first American to qualify for 5 swimming Olympics.
That seems unnecessary, kinda. I mean, I don't know.
Wait, I thought he was banned or whatever because he smoked pot one time.
No, he didn't get banned.
He wasn't banned for that.
I don't think he was actively swimming then. He was like retired for a while. He was like, I'm gonna go smoke pot. And now he's a responsible adult. So he has a kid, so now he's good to go. I don't know. I'm happy for him. I'm not real big into swimming. My sisters probably care a lot more, but they don't like Michael Phelps. They like Ryan Lochte.
Wait, who is this? I'm not the sport
He's
guy.
another swimmer.
Yeah, he's
guy.
another
They're
swimmer.
like they're like the 2 head honchos of the swim team.
Yeah.
So I don't.
All right. Well, that's great. So he's going to be Rio? Is that where it is this year?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Olympics?
He's going to be there.
If they have it there, because they're running into a lot of problems.
Oh, they've got security, they've got Zika virus, they've got shit in the water.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's not looking good for Rio.
It's falling apart.
Holy shit. Well, I mean, where else would they do it, though? Because, like...
Well, they won the Olympic bid, so there's almost no choice as to where it's going to be, but the choice is going to come from the competing countries. Are they going to show up to it? Because they can opt out.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's going to happen. They're just... I know they had to call for a huge loan because they basically have no money left. You almost have to go back to Russia and just be like, hey, you want to have half of this? It's just kind of stupid what they do. They take this country and they say, oh, we want it, we will host it. And then it's like 8 years before, probably. They go set up and they demolish a bunch of old buildings, they clear a bunch of... They build literally villages for all the people to go stay in.
Yeah.
And then they're just going to be vacant. They're going to have all these arenas that are just going to be vacant. It's just a big waste of time.
Well, what was really cool was so just something similar, just because it's relevant to me. In Puerto Rico, when they had the Pan American Games, they did something similar to this, where they pretty much leveled like half of a town, and they built all the stadiums, they built housing for all the athletes, and now all that stuff is subsidized by the U.S. government. So now all those places that they built for housing wise, like people actually rent those now. They live in it.
Oh, well, I mean, that's good.
Yeah, and then the stadiums.
What do they do with the stadiums?
The stadiums are used for like they're open.
Like rec
they're
leagues?
Literally open. People can walk in there and they can play.
Well, that's good.
Yep, they can. Like the facilities are like full use, and this is coming from like an island that is, fucking broke, like super broke.
Yeah, well, that's good. So I guess that's how you justify the amount of effort. Is like, oh, well, we're gonna have this, public work. It's basically the public works program. I mean, I know you generate a ton of money from the Olympics itself. You get all this tourism, and you get like the global recognition of people learning about your culture. Like I remember when the Russians did it. You know, I mean, I'm a history guy, but they did this like Russian weird 3D light show on the ice. I think it was. And it was really cool. You know, you learn a little bit as you're watching. You're getting entertained. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the Olympics. I'm not really. I can't wait to see who gets the Zika virus. Because that's sexually transmitted, and the Olympics are notorious for everyone just shagging each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe it is the end days, and the Zika virus is like the big plague or whatever
That's the one.
Sweep across.
I mean, we're just all going to turn to aliens with like shrunken heads.
Man.
I don't know.
So, speaking of like end of days and all this other stuff, I have a question, and I'm not gonna call him out by name because I don't mean this in like a mean way or anything like that. But the three of us know him, and Chico, you were having a political discussion with him earlier, but
Fatagoni.
Yeah. So what's been going on with this dude, man? Like,
he's so cool. Every time I see his post, I'm like, yes.
But see, here's the thing. Like, I went back because I genuinely remember having like a pro, maybe not 100% pro, but like a pro Bernie Sanders conversation with him at the beginning of all of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. At the beginning of all these political things, and so well, I guess a little bit of backstory for people that are listening. Like, this buddy of ours just seemed to just ride the Donald Trump train hard now, but like to the point where he's like posting all of this like crazy conspiracy theory shit and like calling out like hippies and all this other crazy shit. So
he
like
is a hippie.
That's what I was saying. That's why I was so confused because like not even like I said, probably around the beginning of like when all of the debates and the presidential election shit started, he was posting things about making dinner from food he grabbed from a garbage can, like free produce or whatever that like people just throw away. And then, literally, I think maybe a couple weeks ago, he had posted a status, and then he was like, "Are you happy, you dirty fucking hippies? Like, congratulations." And I was like, "But wait a minute,
I think
you
that's
have
when Hillary
dreadlocks."
won. I think.
I don't even remember, honestly, but like off the top of my head. But I was just really curious because like I feel like he was a genuinely happy, kind of cool person for a while, and he had his little girlfriend and they had a nice little life together, and then, like, did she leave him or something? Is he just, like,
he lives with his
a bitter
girlfriend
prick?
in the Bronx.
I don't disagree with everything he's posting. I agree with most of it.
Nah.
I really do.
He goes pretty hard on Hillary.
I hate Hillary.
Well,
See, here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of any of them, really. I mean, push comes to shove, I don't think any of them are going to do a great deal of justice to the country, but it's just weird to like how quickly he is to, especially because like Chico and him were talking about
we're talking about Brexit.
The UK thing.
Yeah, we're talking about
the Brexit thing. But like with the fierceness that he just started like ripping into it until you actually came on and like you were kind of counter arguing, like, you know, giving some counter statements and stuff like that. That's when he kind of mellowed out a little bit. But he was like digging in. I mean, like claws deep, like just not letting go on his like opinions and just very like angry, aggressive point of view. And then Chico hops on and is like, well, you know, starts doing his Chico thing, and then like all of a sudden he kind of chills out and then is like, you know, debating.
A lot of people are pissed off. I mean, you're sick of the same crap, and you know, you see Bernie. And I think I'm not assuming anyway that he was excited for that, and then to see him lose the way he did, to basically cave and join up with Hillary and not run independent when everyone's calling for him to do so. It's a kick in the teeth, and it just makes you.
If he were to run independent, the problem is so.
I mean, he'll take votes away from Hillary. Hillary will take votes away from him. They want Trump to lose. Everyone wants him to lose. I am
but
getting to be more
right now
pro-Trump than ever.
Trump, you know, like I try to keep politics out of most of my discussions just because most people don't look at things the same way I do. Like because I look at it from like the mass, even though when you vote, So this is funny. I was having a discussion today with my buddy Ben, who is quite good at debates. He's very good at this. So the right to vote is in fact the right, because that's something that we have a privilege of doing. But when people get this kind of I can't remember how you worded it, but people should go out to vote because that's how they express what their individual beliefs are, because they're the only ones who have that point of view.
Right.
So the problem is when one person can influence too many people, whether it's because people are looking at it too narrowly, or they're really only focused on maybe 2 or 3 of the big problems, or just maybe not problems, they're just like things that are issues for them or for somebody that they know or for their family or for their country if they're an immigrant. And he was saying that people vote for themselves but should keep others in mind, which I agree. But the problem is when you keep others in mind, it influences your own beliefs or your own agenda. And I was hitting this problem. So then when I just simultaneously while that discussion was happening, I happened to see Austin's post. I'm just like, man, I like Ben, so I'm gonna let him do his thing, but I'm gonna go a little ham on Austin. So, I didn't crucify him. I literally just pointed out what was gonna happen, and just because it's not really an if, it's when, because the Brexit thing, although what Austin said is in fact true, those people did feel like, you know what, we need to be like Trump, kind of thing,
Right.
They want to close their borders. They want to, they want to essentially stop the bleeding. They don't want their welfare programs to play for immigrants. They want the quote-unquote security they're going to get from closing the borders and requiring visas to come into the country. Yeah. And with just trying to prevent people from coming to your country is stupid, because you're going to drive out a lot of the money you make from tourists. And
is it that bad though? When you look around and you see, I don't know. There's no good way to handle it.
But hold on, Mike.
Think about
I'm gonna finish this thought, and then you guys can continue. So
yeah.
The problem with this, Mike, is that if you do that, with the way nowadays things happen, is you're gonna take a huge economic loss, and we're not talking about billions of dollars. We're talking decades upon decades of the worth of your money, which for them is the British pound. It's going to steadily decrease. I mean, the first day when they actually voted yes on the referendum to secede from the EU, the pound was it went from 153 to $1 to 138, which with the exception of the recession, it was the largest economic impact in history on any one individual event. That's including 9/11. It was actually worse than that. So what's going to happen is, since the EU doesn't recognize foreign sovereign nations as somebody they trade with because they don't adhere by their policies, Britain is now going to fall into that category. So if you know anything about the history of how trade agreements are made, they take more than 10 years. They take 10, sometimes 20 years to come to some sort of trade agreement where both sides are appeased by everything that's going to happen. So if you are in the EAA, which is the European Trading Union, if you're not in it, you are going to get royally screwed, because you can't trade amongst everyone as a whole. You'd have to go and create a trade agreement with one nation here, then the next one here, the next one here, next one here. And that's not only the worst part about it, because the UK doesn't have a giant export. They don't have a money-making machine. So now they're going to get screwed on that part, because they don't really have much to trade anymore. They can't buy willy-nilly.
Well, maybe this is the start of going back to having a global economy and relying more on goods that you produce instead of relying on other people.
Sure. All right. So I'll go back to that in a second. But so I'm gonna continue the last part of this. So the one of the next biggest things that's going to crush the UK is that right now they are the finance capital of the world. Literally all trade that's done goes through the UK at some point, and it's a central hub. Since they're no longer in the EU and soon, because the referendum is signed, it's passed, but it's not acted upon yet. They have to set a certain time frame. Once that happens, they are no longer qualified to be in that position. So that section of commerce is now going to have to move to another country. More than likely Germany, because they have one of the strongest economies in the world, and they also have a very stable economy. Mm-hmm. So the UK is going to lose out on being the central hub. They're going to lose out on easily being able to acquire resources, whether it's like raw or refined. And they're also going to lose out heavily on tourists because people are going to have to acquire visas, even if it's from France, who is literally 20 miles away. Their wall is water, and this is going to provide problems to Scotland and Ireland, which I imagine what could end up happening. Although it's that speculation, this is just me like randomly thinking about it. Like those two nations can sign a referendum to secede from England and rejoin the EU. So then the UK would be isolated, not
just Wales and England.
Yes. So that's a problem. They're really screwing themselves.
Let them do what they want, though. Like
sure, but what those so you ever heard of buyer's remorse?
Yeah, of course. I think that they're definitely going through it a little bit. They see the money going down.
So hold on. So 10% of the people who voted within a week said, "Holy shit, I fucked up." So
yeah,
that's a really high percentage. So today I looked up this stat. There are 64 million people in the UK, and not even within a week, almost 2 million said, "Fuck." So that's a problem. That's
You're referring to the decision they want to have a revote, basically.
I don't think they're going to have a revote.
Well, I don't think they're going to. I know they said a petition. They had millions of people, but how do we know those weren't millions of people that already, had that voted to stay? Like,
well, see, you have to take into consideration that the vote was already almost 50-50. Mm-hmm. Like, it was ridiculously close. So there are going to be a lot of people that voted out of fear. Like, that's one of the biggest reasons that, when the whole point of terrorism is to literally instill fear, is to basically fuck up people's mindset to think, they basically people start acting crazy, you know what I mean, because of these different terrorist acts and whatever else. And because they have all been going on and the media has hyped them up and whatever else, a lot of the reasons that people are voting for the things that they're voting for to kind of close the borders and whatever else is literally out of fear. Mm-hmm. They don't want another terrorist attack. They don't want another anything like that. But the problem is that you're only fueling more fear, which is going to in turn make more terrorists happen and things like that. So as far as what I'm gathering with the whole, like, millions of people that have decided to sign, like, a petition and stuff, you are going to have a small percentage of those people that voted literally out of sheer fear for something like border control or whatever, but whenever they saw all of the other bad shit that was going on top of it, they're saying, oh, well, border control really isn't that big of a deal. Holy fuck.
So,
you know what I mean? So, go ahead.
One thing that I would get a lot of heat for, because I was strongly against, well, not strongly, but my opinion towards the Electoral College in the U.S. has always been, get those people out. We should do things based on the popular vote because the majority should always rule, right? So
this is why.
Today, well, not today, but a couple days ago when this happened, I'm just like, man, this really comes down to people not knowing.
Is it that?
Yes, because the people are ill-informed about what impact the decision is going to make.
Did you look at the map of who voted? Like what demographics voted for what?
Yeah.
You had the wealthy people that lived in the cities voted to stay, mm-hmm. and all the urban people that were poor voted to leave.
That's not entirely the way it worked. So, the urban areas wanted to stay because the urban areas get the protection from the EU via the United Nations, which is realistically the way you want to go because England has shit for an armed force thing now just because the U.S. runs the world. So that was number one, that they're kind of losing out on something they were hoping to gain on. So the rural people who believes that I work hard, so more mainly like farmers and such. They say I work hard for everything that I yield. I don't want the money that I make and pull in to go for these social programs that I bring, or for people that I've never met that I don't like. They say they don't like them because they've never met them.
Is that wrong?
Well, that's up to opinion, but I think it's idiotic to believe that.
We see it with our election. The whole reason that Trump is where he is, and the whole reason Sanders got so much support is just that people are pissed off. Everyone's sick of the people at the top getting everything.
Hey, all right. I got a good question for you, Mike.
Yeah.
So let's say you didn't know who. Let's say you've never met Shams in your life. This is gonna be an easy example for you to relate to because you know who Shams is.
Yeah.
Where is Shams' family from?
I believe Saudi Arabia.
Okay, so if you saw this kid who back in the day he had really really long hair and if you had never heard him speak before and you saw the way he dressed, and you didn't know who he was, would your opinion of him be different?
Probably. I mean, my opinion of anybody's would be different if I don't know them.
Well, exactly. But we know that Shams is a very kind and genuine person, and he wouldn't hurt a fly. But so what you just did there is you just proved the point that ignorance, is not bliss. That's really stupid.
I'm not mad at any immigrant.
Oh, sure. I mean, you don't have to be mad.
I'm upset with the top people. I'm upset with Wall Street. I'm upset with all the corporate companies. My own company I work for.
Yeah, but
all right. So I see how much they pay in taxes. I know what I pay in taxes, and what I get out of my own taxes is worthless.
Yes. Yeah. The tax problem that we have in the U.S. is pretty garbage. But
I'm almost better off being unemployed than I am being employed.
Yeah, it's pretty shit. You can live off of a system, but if you know how to abuse it. But so what I'm getting back to is what you just showed there. If I can blind you with saying oh, Shams is a terrorist, Shams is bad. We don't like Shams or his family or anybody like him, kind of thing. If I can blind you with that for a couple weeks or a month, that becomes your agenda. It's you know what, we got to get these people out of here, and then you kind of put your issues with with taxes and whatever social reform that you think of, and you put that on the back burner because you're Saudi Arabia, get them out, that kind of thing.
I get it, but I don't know that's necessarily the issue. I'm sure it's the issue for some people, and it's unfortunate.
Well, let me interject here really really quick.
Go ahead.
So, in my opinion, again, this all goes back to the whole fear thing. Like Chico was just saying, if you say that Shams and his family are terrorists and they need to go down and whatever else enough, people are going to start believing it. People are going to start railing against that. And I mean, while a lot of people are really just kind of trying to be really overdramatic and comparing these new leaders to Hitler and stuff, that's exactly the tactic that he used. He took on a Germany that was in the midst of a food crisis, and they were a poor nation. They were all very afraid of what was happening. And then he came up and said, guess what? I'm going to change all of this shit. I'm going to make it better. But you know who fucked it up for you? It was the Jews. Exactly. So basically that's what these... That was, well, I mean, the Jews, the Americans, whatever. He essentially made this entire country rally against everybody around them. And that's kind of, in my opinion, what's going on now, is that you have these leaders, like you said, Mike, the ones that you're sick of, and I'm pretty much sick of,
Trump
too.
will be a great president.
Well, see,
I'm convinced of that now.
His blaming... No. See, what it is
he's
they're all
backing
blaming...
off all that crap now.
Yeah, because he's
Well, okay,
he's
but
trying
the
to
fact-
appeal to a greater part. But the thing,
He's
Exactly.
making himself more electable, which he was going to do anyway.
but the problem is, Mike, like that becomes all right. If you know now, and you can remember all the bullshit he's doing now in November when you go to vote. The problem is, more than likely, you know what? I don't know who's the bigger piece of shit here, but I would probably put it as Trump. The reason being because he would probably keep those things as a secret agenda. He's saying, you know what? I'm going to put these in the light, but in my back pocket, I'm going to keep this for when when things are looking up. I can just throw this in there. And
Well,
that's
Hillary's gonna, either way, either you're gonna support a bigot or you're gonna support someone who supports the 1%.
But see,
I guess I'd rather try supporting a bigot than to try supporting someone who's been perpetuating the system the last 30 years.
But here's the problem with bigotry, and again, this is all my opinion. And
Is he
everything,
really a
but
bigot, though?
You just said he was. Okay, hold on,
could
hold
be,
on,
I don't
hold on.
know.
Listen, it doesn't matter. He has come out and openly expressed at the beginning of his campaign, which is the biggest reason why I've rallied against him, that he has he does not give a single fuck about foreign affairs. Now,
That's not
you
true,
can
though,
argue...
because he makes deals with the... He might not give a single fuck about it, but if there's money involved and he'll kiss people's ass if he has to make something happen.
Okay, you say that, but that's not what he said. So it's easy for you to say that, but he has never said a single thing about that. He's literally said, especially about his big mystical wall that everybody thinks that he's going to have Mexico pay for. Mexico has come right out and say, like, he's a fucking idiot. We're not paying for this wall.
Now we'll build it. I don't care. Build the wall.
Jesus.
Build a giant wall right there.
That is the problem, though, Mike. That's
What's wrong with that?
Okay, look.
What's
first
wrong
of all,
with
it's not
making
Christian.
people cross borders legally?
You-
There's nothing wrong with it.
Hold on. I understand that there's nothing wrong with it, and we probably need to trump that up or whatever. No pun intended. But there's something that we need to do to utilize that. But the problem is that what Trump is doing is he's harping on everybody's fears because
I'm
the
not
media
afraid
has
of it,
linked-
and I support him. I understand. Yeah, a lot of people might go that way. And we're making these large generalizations about people I'm sure you see a lot down there, Brandon. You got the dumb rednecks, and I'm sure there's a lot of racism, bigotry there, and that's deplorable, and I can't stand it because you see people like the KKK that have destroyed any shred of... You can't say anything favorable about the Confederacy anymore because you have bigots that go parading around a flag that isn't even actually the real Confederate flag, and they just are complete bags.
Right.
I hate them. I
But,
hate
see-
the KKK so much, and I wish I can't stand it. I can't stand
That goes back to what Chico was saying. Just really quick, and then we can wrap it up and watch this happy thing so we can turn this note around. But here, back what Chico was saying is, again, like somewhat of an education thing, okay? You need to be educated in order to be able to do these things, okay? Chico is obviously very educated in the sense that, he's looked into all of these different stories and gotten a lot of opinions, so that way the people that are very one-sided and just want to tear apart anything that they see based off of whatever they see on Facebook or whatever else, you know what I mean, he can go in there and change that. I am pro-education more than I'm pro-anything else because educated people make educated decisions. Not all of the time, but 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. So by saying what you just said, what you're saying is that the reason that people are like that is because they are uneducated and don't understand what's going on.
I agree.
So the only way to change border control and all that stuff, it's not building a wall, it's not being a bigot, it's not saying fuck you because
Shouldn't
you're
you have a
Mexican
wall,
or
though?
fuck you because, hold on, it's not fuck you because, you're a terrorist or whatever. It's let me understand your culture, let me understand this, let me understand that, which is, in my opinion, the key to getting all of this bullshit to stop. Is
Don't we do
understanding.
too much of that, though, here?
See, and this is what astounds me is, as a Christian, how the hell can you say that? The entire point
Well, the problem, I
of
have
Christianity
we
is
do,
to love thy neighbor.
I agree.
Is to love everybody equally. It doesn't matter what the fuck you did, what you've done. I love you, and I want you to go to heaven. So
I agree
by-
with that, but
as-
Well, so for Mike in this instance, not just to bust his balls a little bit, it's like I like you, but I don't like your family. So they can go to purgatory, but you can come with me.
Yeah.
No, it's like we are so quick. I mean, the media is quick to run to people's defenses that I don't know.
I blame the media more than I blame anybody because, I mean, Jesus Christ, they can take Brock Turner, the guy that we talked about the last time that would, like, rape that woman behind a dumpster and turn him into a patron saint because, you know, he's essentially just another, you know, guy that has money.
Well, they are a problem. I don't know. There's just so many problems. It's like throw a dart at a wall of 5 million problems, and you could go on and on about that one specific thing.
Yeah, but so I mean, if you have all these problems, the only way to really do anything about it is you got to tackle them one at a time. You can't
revolution. Chop the head off the snake and start over.
Get rid of
Trump 2016.
America.
Trump 2016 is going to help you, encase all that. He's not going to help you get rid of it.
The biggest way to make changes is to
from the bottom,
make
not from
a large change. Well, we can't make changes from the bottom because we don't have enough traction for that.
No, it's not even traction. We have plenty of traction. Social media is the biggest fucking traction you can have. The problem is that you have people that exactly because people are too comfortable involved in media. They're too comfortable sitting on their couch.
The people who would be it's not just we're not talking about just congressmen and people like in the House of Representatives, etc. You need the mayor of every city and the legislation side that's like on the state, and then you need all the governors of each state. You need to like infiltrate them and educate them, and to be like, you know what, it's either you do right by us or we take you out and put somebody in who's going to do it the right way, and and we're going to make sure it's the right person, because if he doesn't get the job, then we got to go with somebody else. And the problem with that is that it takes so much time.
That would mean we would need accountability, Chico, and we don't have that in our political system, because you can
not
say
only
whatever
that.
you want to get elected, and then sorry, you can't do that.
Absolutely, which is why I think Trump is a giant joke. he may have been successful in his business, but he's in real estate. So as much as he made money and he did good, it's kind of hard to do that terrible in that aspect of business. Mainly because in the economy that we live in, real estate really has the largest economic base. It's just plain and simple. If you live in an area that makes a lot of money, your land is worth a lot of money. So him being in that line of business, it's double-edged for me. So, if we put aside his real estate business and you look at everything else that he's done, where are all those things? Most of them are
TV.
What?
Doesn't matter. We're not going to agree. It's okay. It's fine. This is the great thing about America. We don't need to agree.
No, I mean,
it's okay.
I'm
I
not
had
trying
something intelligent to say, but all the intelligent thoughts have just seeped from my mind, and I'm just consumed with
remorse.
Oh, I was gonna say, are you really gonna feel great if Hillary gets elected?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. I call on everyone to vote for Jill Stein, Green Party presidential candidate.
So this election,
Jill Stein, 2016.
By the way,
Let's do this
election, it's probably going to have the lowest voter turnout in probably the last 20 to 30 elections. Because nobody...
Stein, you people who aren't going to vote out of protest, vote for the Green Party.
Which probably isn't actually a ballot on most states, but yeah.
Well, they're working on it, though.
Yeah.
I know they're on New York ballot.
She might be on the ballot for maybe 16 states. Mainly the blue states, who would actually be progressive in their... the political theory.
That's the problem. This is why I want Trump on there, because the more we can throw a wrench into this cog that's been going and going and going, the better. Because at this point, the way I look at it, a lot of it's broken, and it needs to be shaken up in one way or the other. And while I do not tend to like Mr. Trump, I do not like Hillary more so. And I think Trump, by having him in there, And even if he's terrible, make him be so terrible that we change everything.
You know, on a more sarcastic note, if he does get elected, where the fuck is he gonna live?
The White House, bro.
Please. You really think he'll downgrade to the White House? The motherfucker
Dude.
lives on the penthouse suite in one of the tallest
Dude.
buildings in New York City.
The White House, man, is where it's at. You got
I
all these.
I honestly think he would live in the White House just for for like the stature.
Yeah.
Not because it's worth a lot of money or because it's like a priceless thing. Just because it's like I'm the president, bitch. Like that's Trump's style, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, damn. All right, well, fellas, I'd say that was that was a pretty successful little banter. But let's watch this video and
I think we
know,
end the
lighten things up a
show
little bit.
and then we'll treat the people. Does that sound good?
End the show and then treat the people.
Yeah. Make it two separate things. Trust me.
Okay, we can do that.
Thank you for listening, people. There will be a video uploaded that you'll probably have watched before you listen to this episode. So, anyway, thank you. Sorry about the political opinions.
Come on. Let's make America great again. Let's talk about politics.
You know what? If even one person gains something out of this, we did our job.
I guess.
Exactly.
I don't know if they're good at game.
Might
they're
be
not gonna vote.
Exactly. That means they might be making the right choice. Who knows?
If only the people in Britain didn't vote. Who knows? Anyway, that's it. That's enough.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
That's right. I am Brandon. Thank you for joining us this hour.
I'm Mike.
And I'm your beloved Chico.
Take it easy, guys.